Hey folks, I'm Brendan and you're watching the Overqualified Henchman. This is the second part of my look at Unite Warrior's Grand Galvatron and the mind-boggling weirdness that is the Transformers mythos. You can check out the first video on my channel, which, as of this recording, now has a custom URL. Now you can tell all of your friends to go to youtube.com/c/overqualified henchman. I'm pretty jazzed about it, but more on that later. Last time, we met a big man with a big appetite, a purple jerk with questionable BMI goals, a lesser purple jerk with questionable taste in friends, and a master tactician literally crushed to death by the unforgiving job market. We've still got 3 figures and a whole bunch of Transformers trivia to go, so strap in for part 2 of Transformers Are Weird! The next Warrior Unicron summons is Wandering Roller, a repaint of the Rook mold. Roller's silver armored vehicle mode is a reference to the drone that Optimus Prime had in the G1 cartoon. That Roller's a little complicated because he was technically part of Optimus Prime and they could feel each other's injuries, but you can mainly think of that Roller like Optimus's pet dog. In the IDW comics, however, we're introduced to a different Roller, one of Optimus Prime's old buddies from the early days of the war. This Roller's interesting because despite being super strong, he feels completely inadequate next to guys like Optimus Prime, and develops the robot equivalent of a drug habit to give him that extra edge. Now, Rodimus Prime and a bunch of crew members from the Lost Light meet Roller when they Marty McFly back in time to stop the assassination of Megatron before he could become a dictator. Now, in order to keep from altering history, they erase themselves from the memories of Optimus Prime and his team, but accidentally also erase Roller, who got separated during the fight. We still haven't found out what happened to IDW Roller, and this guy offers one possible explanation. See, he's been wandering from universe to universe, being eaten up by his jealousy and resentment, to the point where he hates Optimus Prime and the Autobots. That hatred is like a beacon to Unicron, who calls this guy forth. The third undead warrior is Zombie War Breakdown. Now, Breakdown shouldn't be confused with Breakdown, because he's actually referencing Breakdown. Breakdown is a repaint of Offroad, who's originally supposed to be Ruckus because Hasbro lost the rights to the name Wild Rider until they realized they'd also lost the rights to the name Ruckus. Ruckus was eventually released under his French-Canadian name Garbage, and Wild Rider was released as Breakneck, and none of that is actually relevant to our story. Like I said, Zombie War Breakdown is referencing the Breakdown from Transformers Prime. Old Breakdown had a pretty tough go of it. First, he lost an eye to the human terrorist group known as Mech. Later, they managed to actually kill him and turn him into a giant robot suit for their critically injured leader Silas to wear sort of Buffalo Bill style. Silas actually tried to join the Decepticons after that, but not surprisingly, Breakdown's partner Knockout was not thrilled with the idea. He tortured Silas by injecting him with a mixture of unstable synthetic energon and dark energon, the crystallized blood of Unicron. Once again, different Unicron. This accidentally turned Silas/Breakdown into a shambling Terrorcon zombie that the Decepticons only barely managed to put down. Our Unicron brought back Breakdown without Silas because apparently he's not overly worried about the zombie apocalypse. No sooner had Unicron introduced Galvatron to his new warriors, and who should appear but Ghost Starscream. He's Starscream as a ghost. Starscream is another variation on the Skydive mold, but this time cast in gorgeous translucent plastic to drive home his ghostliness. Okay, so you remember when I mentioned an injured Megatron being thrown out into space? Starscream was right in the middle of crowning himself the new leader of the Decepticons when Galvatron showed up and disintegrated him. Turns out Starscream was too annoying to die, however, and came back multiple times as a ghost who could possess living Transformers. The Beast Wars cartoon eventually introduced the idea of a spark, basically the Transformers version of a soul. It explained that Starscream had a rare mutation that made his spark indestructible, which is why he could survive without a body. He even showed up there to possess Waspinator for old time's sake. Now, Starscream had had some dealings with Unicron himself anyway since becoming a ghost, and if the big guy was handing out new bodies, he demanded one of his own. Of course, Starscream had betrayed Unicron in those past dealings, so he decided to hedge his bets and only give Starscream a half-corporeal body. So how was all of this supposed to convince Galvatron to give up on using Unicron for spare parts? Meet Combiner Hunt Leader Grand Galvatron. Now right away the paint applications on Galvatron are interesting because they're not referencing the purple look he had in the cartoon, they're referencing his original toy. You can see it in the gray with the red highlights and those chrome abs. The translucent orange gun barrel I drew your attention to earlier is also a reference to his signature fusion cannon. Meaning that what we've got here is a reference to the G2 cartoon, one to the toy line rather than the cartoon, Armada, Prime, and the IDW comics all combine to reference the Headmasters cartoon. These guys have no place in the same sentence, let alone the same toy line, let alone combining to make one larger body. Getting back to our story, once Grand Galvatron forms, Unicron goes, "Good, yes, now go and do my bidding." To which Grand Galvatron naturally goes, "No, I'm gonna go conquer Cybertron for myself. Peace! To be fair, Unicron probably should have seen that coming. Now, these last two videos have been all about how bizarre these giant space truckmen can get, but I've got one more video coming down the pipeline that's gonna prove that despite all of that, there's never been a better time to get into Transformers. Helping me prove that point is the second ever fan-built Transformer and Grand Galvatron's nemesis, Victorion. Yes, Mom, I know it's a bachelor apartment. I'll find room. I'll get another shelf. Vicky here took a little bit of tracking down to find, but she's a great excuse to talk about some of my favorite comics from the last few years, so make sure to tune in. Drop me a comment down below letting me know who your favorite component of Grand Galvatron is, and remember to like, subscribe, and share. And thank you so much to my first 100 subscribers. I know it's not a huge number in terms of YouTube, but the milestone means a lot to me, so seriously. Thank you. If you've got ideas for topics you'd like to see me cover, hey, hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. The links are all down below. What can I say? You guys are great. And as always, keep on henching. Grand Galvatron is one of many Cybertronians living with phantom limb syndrome. Please donate generously.